Hey, you guys, and welcome back to Hey Mama, Let's Chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to start out a new episode with y'all. Before we start out, if you're watching on YouTube, you might notice that I have a new little friend with me. This is Stella. So we just adopted Stella. She is a rescue. And part of today's topic is the reason why Stella is with us today. So I decided to bring her on with me. Hopefully it works out. She's trying to bite all of the cords and things because she is a puppy. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys could give this a like, if you could go ahead and hit subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of you who have subscribed, who continue to watch. I'm super excited, guys. This channel keeps growing, and it's turning into something more than I even thought it would be in the short amount of time that it's been here. So I appreciate all of that support. I really do. So we're going to dive into today's topic, and I'm going to tell y'all a little story about what happened to me this week, and that's kind of the reason why I came up with this topic in the first place. So we're talking about momming through the stages of your child's development. Like when your kids grow up and you're left wondering what just happened. And I feel like we all kind of have those times when we're like, wait, what? Like, you're not into this anymore? Or, you go to play like Barbies and it's like, well, no, I don't do that. I don't want to play this. Or like you go to that park that you used to go to all the time and all of a sudden they're like, okay, yeah, I'm done. This isn't fun anymore. Let's go home. And you're like, what is happening? So I have a story. So I took my daughter and my son to Arrows the other day. If you don't know what Arrows is and you're from San Antonio, Bernie area, it is a indoor play park located in Bernie, Texas. And y'all, we love this place. Like my kids could spend, and realize how I say could, they could spend like hours there. Like I would just, take a laptop or take like my tablet, watch a show, like let them do their thing. And so my kids have been sick like everyone else's kids on the planet recently. And it's just been like, we've gotten hit with everything. We got hit with the only thing we didn't get hit with, no, we did get hit with COVID. Yeah, we got hit with COVID. We got hit with the flu. We got hit with like anything that you could possibly think of, we got hit with it. So my kids are used to going and like being out all the time because that's just the kind of mom that I am. I preach and preach. I feel like it's easier to take them out and do something than it is to keep them inside all day. That's not saying that we're spending hundreds of dollars, a week or a month, because it does add up. But that's just saying like getting out of the house, doing anything. I mean, going to a park, like free things. I would rather be out of my house than be in my house trying to entertain them, because that's just not the type of mom that I am. I applaud all the moms that can sit there and like come up with things, but like I get to a point where I'm just like mentally burnt out. I'm like, okay, let's go to the park and let's just throw off some energy there. Like I'll run around with you at the park. So my kids have been sick, and my daughter has been asking me every single night. She is a routine girl. That's what I've told y'all about. She's all about routine. And one of the things that she says before she goes to bed every single night, what are we doing tomorrow? Are we going to do something fun? And normally I've just been saying, I don't know, we'll see. Or, you're sick, baby. We can't go do anything fun. We just have to stay home. So come, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't even know when we went. But I had texted my friend and I was like, here, do you want your collar, little girl? There you go. So I texted my friend and I was like, hey, I have a great idea. Let's surprise the girls. She has a daughter the same age as Mila. They're best friends. And she's like, let's surprise the girls and let's take them to Arrows. I think it's going to be a great idea. The kids have been dying to get out of the house. I'm not going to tell her where we're going. And it's just going to be this fun surprise. She's going to be so excited. And she's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. This is the friend that moved 5 minutes down the road from me that I told you all about. So she's like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll pick you up in the morning and we'll just head that way. And then, it'll be a surprise. She's like, all right. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be the best mom in the world. Like, she's going to be so excited for the surprise. Like, I could already, feel like that instant gratification when you know that you're doing something right. Like, as a parent, you're like, yes, like, this is a good one. So we load the kids up in the car. Dominic's there too. Oh, hi, baby. And we get to Arrows, and she's initially excited. She's like, oh, awesome, cool, And I'm like, yes, like, this is going to be, a fun time. And we get inside, and, she plays for a little bit, and she's doing some of the stuff that she used to. And I can just tell that she's not really, like, feeling it like how she used to. Like, she's coming back to the table every once in a while just to say, like, hi, Mommy. Or, like, what? And before, it was like I never saw her. We walked in those doors, and I didn't see her until we left. And so I'm like, okay, well, not really sure what's going on, but, whatever. Well, then she comes up to the table, and she's like, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. I just want to go. And I'm like, my first initial thought is like, are you okay? Do you feel sick? Is there a kid that, you're not vibing with? And she's like, no, I'm just tired. I just want to go home. And in that moment, and I felt so bad after, like, I was crying to my friend after this happened. And I didn't get like mean or loud, but she could definitely tell that I was like, what the heck? Like, almost annoyed, to not like a mean, but just like a, really? Like, I brought you here. Like how all of us feel when you go out of your way, you spend money, you go to do something nice for your kid, and then they're like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. And that's exactly how I felt. I was like, well, we're here, like, we should play. We're going to stay here. We're going to stay here. Well, then she started to get upset. She started crying, and I apologized to her because I probably didn't approach the situation like from a understanding and caring mom. I approached it from well, girl, I paid money, so we are staying. And, I can admit that, and I apologized to her, and we moved along, but I'm not going to say that I handled it with grace, because I didn't. And we all have those moments, and we all have those times. And like I said, I'm always going to be transparent. And I wasn't on my best behavior. My friend was like, you better apologize to her, or else I'm going to go over there and pinch you. Like, she felt that, and I felt really bad. So once I told her, okay, fine, you can take a nap on my lap, and then, you can go play, whatever. So she laid down for a little bit, and then she went to go play, and then it was fine after that. Like, after that, she was fine. She didn't have the same like, whoa, like, enthusiasm that she usually does. But she was like cool to go and play, and she had a great time. And when we got home, she told her dad all about it, and it was a great, it was a good day. The rest of the day was a good day. But at the table, when she got up to go and play, my friend was looking at me, and she's like, are you okay? And that's when I just like started tearing up. I was like, no, I'm not. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because I feel like recently, my daughter's been like a little bit more emotional than I'm used to. And I don't know, I feel like it's because of something that I'm doing. I'm like, what is it that I'm doing to make her feel like this? Because as parents, obviously we never want to make our kids feel, that way. And she's like, I don't really think it's you. I just think that she's like, developing those like big emotions. And, you caught her off guard with a day that wasn't planned, and she didn't know what was happening. And now we're here, and she's just like, there's a lot going on. And then she was like, well, and you also, think about it too. Like, maybe she's, kind of grown out of this stuff. And we had that conversation about, when do you know when your child has grown out of something? And, you don't get to know until it happens. And it kind of made me like feel like, like, okay, are you going to bite this? Sorry, we've got puppy problems over here. You can bite that. That's fine. And it kind of made me feel like, go into that hole of like, oh, you're going to miss these days. Like the last episode that we just talked about saying, we're going to miss this, and then going down the rabbit hole of all the things that I might have missed out on, opportunities of, playing with her, doing something, because now she doesn't want to do it anymore. And I started to go down that rabbit hole. And then I was like, okay, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to start to feel like crap about this. Like, we're going to, find a different way to approach it. And so I really thought, what better way to talk about it than instead of going to therapy, I'll just talk to y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But we really had a really great conversation about, the first time that we finally realized that maybe our kids were, too old to go to like Emmett Park. That was our park for a long time. And now she's like, the kids, and not to say that they don't enjoy it still, but it doesn't entertain them for as long. And we need other things to bring with us in order to keep them entertained. It's not just, oh, we're at the park, it's outside, we're having fun. Like now it's like, oh, we're outside, we're at the park. Okay, cool. Can we bring this? Can we do this? Can we also have, and they just have more to pull from, I guess, like in their little thought bubble. So we were talking about, the growing pains of like what's happening. And the signs that like when it is time to kind of move on and not looking at it as something that's negative, but almost like a challenge to make it positive. So, instead of taking her there, I was thinking, okay, well now, we get to find a new place that sparks her interest, or, maybe we get to go to the older places that I didn't think that she was ready for a while. And now we get to go and explore that and see how she feels about that. Going to like Clay Casa or like a play place. And so then it got me thinking, because I was like, well, this is all new and this feels so new and I haven't felt this way about anything like this before. And then I was like, well, no, you have gone through this before. You just never realized it until now because this is kind of a little bit bigger than the other times. But it's just like the last time that they used a pacifier, or like the last time that they asked for a bottle. And like life just keeps moving and you don't really notice it until you're kind of further along and you're like, oh, but then when it's something like that, when you're in the moment and it's happening and you're like, wait a second, what is happening right now? It's different and it feels a little bit different, but I'm here to tell you that if you look at it as something that's positive and something that's almost like a challenge for you, like let's figure out what we can do now that's going to be even more fun than this. Like let's go to find a place that has tea parties. You weren't able to sit down for a long time. Now you can sit at a table for, 30 minutes to have a tea party. Let's go find somewhere like that, So even though in that moment I felt like my heart was like, my baby, and that's okay, that's a valid feeling, I started to think, okay, now this gives me an opportunity to kind of see what she wants to do, follow her lead, maybe not surprise her anymore and let her surprise me. And, she's really into dance right now. It's like, maybe we can start making up like little dance routines. I used to be a dance instructor. I've, danced my whole life. She loves Wicked right now. Like she is a fan of Wicked. I'm like, maybe we can start like making up little dances to, show her dad when he comes home from work. I used to do that with my friends all the time. But you see them as these little babies that they're like, oh, they're too little for that. But the truth is they're not too little anymore. You can start to explore those things that might be a little challenging for them. Just like that playground that was a little challenging when you first got there. But now they've grown out of it. So little things like that, like, if I take her to go paint pottery, she might not be the best. It might be a crazy mess, but it's something that we can look forward to and we can build. And then once she completes that and when she thinks that that's a little boring, we can find something else to do. So I think that it kind of gave me a different perspective on growing with her. And it made me laugh too, because it made me think like, how many times have I done something with her and I've just held on to it because I'm like, oh no, you like this. And you do it and then you're like, wait, oops, you're like, you're not little anymore. Like things like little things that I think, oh, okay, yeah, like, let me go put you in one of those like small swings at the park for like babies, and you go to stick them in there and they don't fit. And you're like, well, are we doing the big swing today? Like, is this happening? And it creeps up so fast. And it's like, this is awesome. Instead of looking at it as something like, oh, wow, you don't fit in that anymore. That's what we used to do every time. That was your favorite swing. Because then if you talk that way to them, they're going to feel like, oh, like they're going to think that they're missing out on something that maybe they really didn't care to miss out on in the first place. Because you're bringing it to attention, they think like, oh, well, I'm supposed to like this, or I'm supposed to do this because that's what I used to do. And we're all about growth here. We're all about wanting them to feel like they can continue growing without us. And I don't know if this is every kid, but with my daughter, she is an empath. Like, if she thinks that, I'm going to give an example. So my mom, I love her to death, but we had to have a talk because she jokes with my daughter sometimes. And like, just lighthearted joking, you know, if Mila eats the last piece of chocolate and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I was going to eat that and you ate it. Like, joking. My daughter internalizes that, and I guarantee you when we leave her Enna, that's what she calls her Enna's house, she's going to say, Mommy, we need to go to the store and we need to get Enna chocolates because I ate the last chocolate and she was really upset. And then I have to explain to her, no, baby, she was just joking with you, but I understand why you would feel like you made her upset, but she's not upset with you. So we had to have a talk, and I was like, Mom, you can't do that. I had to have a talk with my husband too. Hey, you can't do that. Like, you can't like joke with her that she's upset you or she's hurt your feelings, because she really takes it to heart and then she internalizes it and she actually thinks that that's what's happening and that's what's true. And so when it came to the play place, I was trying my best not to show that I was feeling a certain way about her not liking certain things, because I was like, I never want her to feel like she has to do something because she's afraid that she's going to like make me sad because she's not acting like a baby anymore. And that's the last thing we want for our kids. We want them to grow. We want them to find new interests. We want them to push themselves. And so if she's constantly feeling like she's going to disappoint me by not liking the things that she used to like because she thinks that I'm going to feel a certain way about it, I never want her to feel that way. But our kids pick up our emotions, our kids pick up our tendencies when we do feel a little down, or we do feel, and that's not to say to suppress your emotions either. We all have our emotions and all of those are valid. Like I said, she left and I just like, I didn't break down, but I had like a little moment and I was tearing up with my friend right there, just talking to her. But that's normal and it's normal feeling. So if you do feel that, it's okay, but maybe we just start to talk about it in a positive way. Like, okay, we get to do something else now. We get to accomplish the next thing. So yeah, the feels like that, it doesn't ever really go away in my experience, but I feel like the way that you react to your feels definitely can change the tone of how the day goes, because more than likely you did pay money to go wherever you are. And I did tell her, I was like, hey, we paid to come here. This is where we're going to be today. Maybe next time we'll find a new place. But today, and that's not to say I love Arrows, and I'll still continue to go there because my son is a huge fan. He's 2 and he thinks it's great. And there were big kids there that had a great time too. But I think she's just approaching an age where she's just, she wants something else. But I told her, I said, we paid for this. Mommy and Daddy work hard for their money. We're going to stay here and we're going to make the most of it and we're going to have fun. And she was like, okay, cool. It's not to say I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not having fun. Okay, well, let's go find something else to do today. Like, no, this is the plan. I drove to Bernie. We're here. We're going to have fun and it's going to be a great time. And so that was, thinking of it like that made me definitely feel way better. So maybe just take a little, if you take anything from this, spinning it to a positive, spinning it into something that we can find a new thing that's going to be even more exciting, can help you. And honestly, it's really more for you than anyone, let's be real, because our kids are they're just excited to go and do the next thing. They don't realize that what's going on inside is like, wow, oh my goodness, my baby. And that, again, normal, but they don't realize that's what's going on. So all of this is basically for us, it's more for us, but our emotions do trickle down into our kids. So if they see you handling it in a positive light, or they see you handling situations that make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel sad in a positive light, they're more likely to react to their own situations in a positive light. So let's talk about tips to cope with changes. So I kind of feel like we already talked about this, but some tips that I thought might be helpful was to host and I'm a big kid now party. So there's things, and obviously not for a play place like that, but maybe, they're done playing with their certain dolls, right? Like we'll say Barbie dolls. And they're done with the Barbie dolls. And of course, again, it's an emotional time because it's like, wow, you remember every memory. When you hold a toy, you remember all the memories that go along with it. I don't care who you are. You always do. As a mama, we remember everything. And so maybe, you throw I'm a big kid now party and we get all the Barbies together and we have one last hoorah and we throw a party and then we go and we donate them to someone that is younger and wants to enjoy those Barbies and have those memories the way that we had those memories. Maybe you start a growing up scrapbook. So every time that you go to, and you know when it's going to be your last time there. Like Arrow's not going to be my last time there. My kid, my son still loves it. We still got plenty of years there. But, when we go to that park that we only spent maybe 20 minutes at this time when we used to spend hours, we take a picture there and, we go back to our growing up scrapbook and we put that in the scrapbook. And you don't have to explain to them like, we're never going to go here again or make a big deal out of it. Again, this is more for you than it is. And it will be for them when they get older. Like, oh, Mom, this was so cool that you even thought to do this. Like, how cool is this? And, you say like, this was the last time that we came to this park because you got too big and it's going to make me cry. Guys, I cry so much. I'm so emotional. But, you say this is the last time that we came to this park, like to play like this, because you said that you were too big kid for it and you weren't feeling it anymore. And then at least you have an ending. And I think that's where we feel the most loss is when we don't feel that ending, like we don't have that moment that we can say like, oh, I remember when that was the last time. And so I think putting like an ending to a chapter or to a milestone or to something that they used to enjoy, I think it really does benefit you mentally because you can actually look back and say like, yeah, I remember that. And that was a really cool day. And, that's when we decided that we were going to put you in karate, or that's when we decided that we were going to go and start painting. And so it gives a beginning to the next chapter. You know what I'm saying? So just brainstorm ways to support your kids, and, have giggles and laughs about everything. And instead of the tears, instead of the weight sitting up in bed and thinking like, wow, that was a day, like that was hard. 'Cause that's kind of how I felt the other day. I was like, whew. But then when I started to think back and of how I wanted to see it in a positive light, it really did change my whole perspective on the whole situation. So next would be growing together. Like I said, adventures to continue. So have new adventures, create new bonds. Your kids are getting a little older. Do those silly TikTok challenges with them. Look a fool with them. Try a new game board at family game night. Start a family game night if you haven't done that yet. There are so many different ways that we can connect with our kids and embrace the changes and not be left behind. So really encouraging family connection, encouraging a strong bond between the two of you, regardless of if that's at the park, making sandwiches in the morning to take for a picnic, or again, doing something silly, a silly video, reading the same book if they're a little bit older, having a little book club going on. You can make it your own, and for your child, however old they are or what their interests are. But we can always grow and we can always be excited about that growth. And even though sometimes, yes, in the moment when it's happening, it's like, wow, this is happening. We're never going to come here again. They're never going to want this again. You can choose to see the positive in it, and don't be so stuck in the sadness of it all. And I really feel like this episode was more for me than it really was for anyone else, you guys, because like I said, that day really did it pulled at my heart for sure. But I'm choosing to look forward to new things that we can bond over. And so with that, I am ending. That is why Stella is here. That is why we chose to rescue her. And we decided to invite her into our family because my daughter has been asking for a dog since our dog Buddy passed away. She has been praying about it and asking for it. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to follow her lead. Again, this is a big commitment to the change, but it's something that our family feels like is the best next step for us. So, you know, we're bonding. She's helping me feed. She's helping me put water in the bowl. We're going to puppy train her together. She's basically our new baby in the house. And she's me and Mila's baby. So this is something that we decided was going to be our new thing. So whatever it is, whatever you think is the next new thing for you, or if you're holding on to that play place, or you're holding on to that pacifier, or you're holding on to something that you know you probably should let go of, and they're probably ready to take the next step, I'm encouraging you to take the next step. I know it's hard. I know it's scary. I know it feels like a lot in the moment, but I promise you it is so worth it. And if you look back, you already did it so many times. You are more than capable of doing it again. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I really feel like this was a therapy sesh for me, but if it spoke to you, please leave me a comment. Again, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Please subscribe. That would be so awesome. We are so happy to have you here. I hope that whatever day you're having, if you're watching this in the morning, good morning. If you had a rough day and you're going to bed, girl, go to bed and have the best day tomorrow. I love all of you. I will see you on the next episode.